topic of discussion that we are going to deal right now is we're going to talk about cerebellum. Now in this topic what we'll do, we'll be talking about what? We'll be talking about all these images, we'll be talking the anatomical and also the physiological aspect of our cerebellum, about its function. So without delay, let's begin our discussion. Now cerebellum. This cerebellum, what is the location of cerebellum? It is present in posterior cranial fossa. Where it is present? It is present in posterior cranial fossa, and it is what? It is leaf-like, foliated. It is what? It is leaf-like, as you can see right here. It is what? It is leaf-like, the foliated, right? Foliated structure, and this is what we call orbovitae, right? Orbovitae. Now it is present at the roof of fourth ventricle. It is present at the roof of fourth ventricle, right? Fourth ventricle. Now other thing is, it is attached with what? It is attached with our brain stem, such as what is this? These are our brain stems. It is attached with brain stem with the help of peduncles, right? With the help of peduncles. For example, there are how many? The superior, right? The superior, the middle and inferior peduncles, cerebral peduncles. These helps attaching our cerebellum with our brain stems. Now superior peduncle, superior cerebral peduncle, it will help attaching what? Attaching our cerebellum, this cerebellum with our what? With our midbrain. Similarly our middle cerebral peduncle, what it will do? It will help attaching these our cerebellum with our what? With our bones. Similarly inferior cerebral peduncle, it will help attaching our this cerebellum with what? With our medulla oblongata. So this was what? This was about what? A brief introduction. So now talking about the lobes, right? It consists of several lobes. What are the different lobes of our this cerebellum? Talking about the different lobe, here as you can see the schematic diagram, right? What are these? These are what? This is our cerebellum. What is this? This is all together is our cerebellum. Now in this cerebellum, if you'll see the above this yellow structure, what is this? This is our anterior lobe. It is our anterior lobe. Similarly, if you'll see more carefully below it, the structure that is present, right? Below it, what are these? These are posterior lobe, right? What are these? These are posterior lobe. These are the two main lobes. And talking about another lobe, if you will see carefully, then here just below you will find that there is extension, and these extension, what are these? These are our what? These are our nodule and flocculus, and togetherly these are what? These are folliculonodular lobe, right? Folliculonodular lobe. That means what? What are the different type of lobes? Talking about the different type of lobes, we have got anterior lobe, right? Anterior lobe, as you can see, anterior lobe is right here. We have got posterior lobe, and we have got another, the main flocculonodular lobe, right? Flocculonodular lobe. Now there are other structure also that you can see, right? There are other structure also that you can see. The structure that will divide our this cerebellum into what? Into two compartment. What is this whole structure called? It is called our vernix. And of this vernix, the caudal most part is our lingula. What is this? This is our lingula. And if you will just move downward, then here you will find pyramid and uvula, and here the pyramid and uvula are not related to the pyramid of medulla oblongata. These are what? These are independent terms, and uvula, it is not related to oral cavity. So these are what? These are the individual term. Okay, these are the things that we need to know about what? We need to know about cerebellum. Now moving further, okay, let's see the same things right here. We have got what? We have got anterior lobe, as you can see. This is our anterior lobe, right? We can see, what are these? These are our posterior lobe, as you can see the in red color. These are our posterior lobe, and we have got flocculonodular lobe right here, flocculonodular lobe. So this was what? This was okay. Now let's see same thing in what? In our coronal section, right? Now this is our coronal section. Now here to see what? To see our what? To see our cerebellum, we need to find what? Brainstem. This is our brainstem, right? This is our brainstem. Now here this is our midbrain, here this is our bones, and here this is our medulla oblongata. Now around this brainstem we have got what? We have got cerebellum. What is these? These are our cerebellum. These are our cerebellum, right? Now these cerebellum are connected to brainstem with the help of cerebellar peduncle. We have already discussed about these things, right? Okay. Now another thing that we need to just look right here is, what are these? These are our thalamus, right? These are our thalamus. Between these thalamus we have got what? We have got third ventricles. Okay, these are the things that we need to keep in our mind right here. Now moving further, the thing that we would like to keep in our mind is, we need to know about the classification, right? How our this cerebellum is divided. Now talking about the classification, there are three classification based on the developmental history. Okay, and the archaeocerebellum, that means it is the oldest, right? It is the oldest one. And talking about neocerebellum, this is the most recent, the newest, right? The most recent one. And in between these two we have got paleocerebellum, right? That is what, that is in between these two. So talking about archaeocerebellum, right, it is also called vestibular cerebellum, right? It is also called vestibular cerebellum. And the thing that are included in these archaeocerebellum are our what, flocculonodular, yes, the flocculonodular that we discussed right here, flocculonodular, and the other structure are our lingula. That means lingula and flocculonodular, these are kept under archaeocerebellum, right? And the function of this archaeocerebellum is to maintain axial stability. That means axial stability, balance, like a boat, how it is balanced. So this was about what, this was about archaeocerebellum, right? Now talking about neocerebellum is considered the most recent one. Now this is also called cerebral cerebellum, right? It is also called cerebral cerebellum. And the things that are included right here is our posterior lobe, right? The total posterior lobe. What is this? This is our posterior lobe. The posterior lobe leaving what, except our pyramid and uvula. Pyramid and uvula are not included in neocerebellum, right? These are not included. But talking the middle one, paleocerebellum, right? Paleocerebellum, it is also called spinal cerebellum. And the things that are included here are our anterior lobe, right, plus the pyramid and uvula. So this is what, this is our classification, right? Classification of cerebellum, how it is classified into different parts. And the paleocerebellum, right, paleocerebellum, it is what, it is responsible for appendicular stability. The neocerebellum is responsible for smooth execution of voluntary movement, right? Smooth execution of voluntary movement. And if there will be lesion in this neocerebellum, then there will be what, there will be intentional tremors, right? We are not able to perform specific tasks. So this was what, this was about the cerebellum, right? Cerebellum, introduction to cerebellum. Now moving what in detail about cerebellum, right? In cerebellum, what we'll find is, we'll find, okay, this is our cerebellum, right? This is our cerebellum, and this cerebellum is connected with what, our brainstem, with the help of these peduncles, cerebral peduncles. Okay, the above one, it is what, superior cerebral peduncles, middle cerebral peduncles, and inferior cerebral peduncles, right? Now outer region of our this what, cerebellum, what we'll find is, we'll find gray matter. Now gray matter, and in inner we'll find what, white matter, we'll find white matter. And these outer, right, this outer region of cerebellum, which consists of gray matter, these are called what, these are called cerebellar cortex, right? Cerebellar cortex. And these cerebral cortex consist of different types of cell, right? Different types of cells. And that it consists of different type, yes, it consists of different type of cells within different layers. So that we'll be discussing later on. Similarly, moving further inside, white matter, right? Here inside it consists of what, the white matter consists of different types of what, deep nuclei, cerebral nuclei. And about that cerebral nuclei we will be discussing further. And further, and about these what, peduncles, cerebral peduncles, they consist of different cerebral tracts, and about that also we'll be discussing. So now what will be the pattern of discussion? Initially we'll be talking about cortex, different layer of cortex, right? And then we'll be talking the cells within them. And in white matter, what we'll discuss, we'll be talking about different deep cerebral nuclei, right? And cerebral nuclei. And in the cerebral peduncle we'll be learning about different what, our tracts present within them. So moving now into what, cortex region. Now cortex region, okay, let's suppose this is whole our cortex region. This cortex region is divided into how many, 3 layers, right? 3 layers. The outermost, as you can see, this is the outermost, it is molecular layer. The middle one, it is what, it is called Purkinje layer. And the lowermost one, it is called granular layer. Now the molecular layer, right, it consists of 2 type of cell, right? It consists of 2 type of cell, our stellate cell, that is what, that is star in shape. Stellate cell are star in shape. Similarly, you have got basket cell, right? Basket cell, which appear as basket. And in these are what, these are the cells in our molecular layer. Similarly, talking about Purkinje layer consists of what, Purkinje cells. And these Purkinje cells are what, funnel shaped structure, right? And they have what, dendritic what, extension toward what, our this outer molecular layer, right? And they have axonal extension toward what, toward our the white matter, toward our white matter. That means these axon of our these Purkinje cells, they go all the way from gray matter to white matter, that means to deep cerebellar nuclei. cerebellar nuclei. Okay, this was our Purkinje cells. Now talking more further, the deepest layer, that is our granular layer. As name suggests, it consists of what? It consists of granule cells, right? It consists of granule cells. These granule cells are also extended all the way up, right, to molecular layer. And as you can see, another cells that we have got Golgi cell. As you can see, the Golgi cell is what? It is extended till Purkinje layer. Okay, these were what? These were different layer and different cells found in what? Found in our cortex of our cerebellum. Okay, now talking about these different cells, right? These different cells have what? Their different functions. Now these different cells have their different function based on their neurotransmitter. Stellate cell, it uses what? Our GABA as neurotransmitter. So it is what? It is inhibitory in nature. Similarly, basket cell also inhibitory in nature because of GABA. Granule cell is what? It is excitatory. It is only the excitatory what? Our cell within these our cortex. Similarly, Purkinje cell, it is also inhibitory in nature, and Golgi cell is also inhibitory in nature, right? Now as I have mentioned earlier about Purkinje cell is the cell, right? It is the cell that will carry information, right, from what? From our gray matter to white matter, right? That we are talking within cerebellum. That means the Purkinje cell is the main efferent, right? It is the main efferent from what? It is the main efferent from gray matter to white matter, right? From gray matter to white matter. But it is not the efferent from cortex. I mean, it is not the main efferent from cerebellum, right? Talking about the main efferent from cerebellum, we will be discussing it later on. So so since we said that there are a large number of inhibitory neuron right here in our cortex, so the cortex is the largest collection of inhibitory neuron, and only efferent from cortex is what? The only efferent from our cortex is our Purkinje cell, right? And this is the largest cell. Purkinje cell is the largest cell, and it is only the efferent from cortex. Now moving further, what we have is, now we discussed about what? We discussed about different layer within this cortex region, right? In this cortex region. Now what we will do is, now we will move into deep, right here. Now here, this deep region, it consists of what? It consists of deep cerebellar nuclei, right? It consists of what? Deep cerebellar nuclei. Now okay, these are remembered as D, E, F, G, right? Alphabetically these are remembered, D, E, F, G. The D is our dentate nucleus, E is emboliform nucleus, F is fastigial nucleus, and G is globose nucleus. So now talking about the dentate nucleus is the largest nucleus. The first thing is, it is the largest nucleus, right? Now its structure is like what? The twisted or twisted paper, like, I mean, what we do when we squeeze paper at the time, how it comes, it is in such a shape, as you can see right here, right, in shape. And what are these? Deep cerebellar nuclei, right? Okay, these deep cerebellar nuclei, these are what? These are main efferent from what? From cerebellum, right? These are the main efferent from cerebellum. When we said the efferent from gray matter, and those were our Purkinje cell, but here talking about the main efferent from cerebellum, these are what? These are these deep nuclear cells. Now here we talked about what? Dentate nucleus, right? Dentate nucleus. Now moving further, we have got what? We have got emboliform nucleus, right? This emboliform nucleus and fastigial nucleus, okay, these emboliform nucleus and this fastigial nucleus, these are along with these our globose nucleus, these are the part of our nucleus of paleocerebellum, right? Paleocerebellum. But this dentate nucleus, it was the nucleus of neocerebellum. That means these dentate nucleus represent what? Our newest cerebellum, and all these represent what? Our paleo, or in between. And talking about what? The archaeocerebellum, this fastigial nucleus is also what? It is called the nucleus of archaeocerebellum, right? This fastigial nucleus, solely it is called the nucleus of archaeocerebellum. Now talking about the arrangement of them in white matter, what we will see is, okay, let us suppose, what is this? This is the lateral part, lateral region, and here we have got medial region. Now laterally, the most lateral nucleus of deep cerebellar nuclei is our dentate nucleus. It is the most lateral and the most latest, so it is the nucleus of neocerebellum. Now talking about our this globus nucleus and fastigial nucleus, globus nucleus and emboliform nucleus, we have got them in between, right, in between of our what, of our dentate nucleus and fastigial nucleus. So these two nucleus, since they are present in between fastigial nucleus and dentate nucleus, they are called nucleus interpositus. That means in between our fastigial and dentate nucleus, right. And talking about what, the fastigial nucleus, the most medial one nucleus, right, it is the most medial one nucleus, and it is what, it is the nucleus of archaeocerebellum also, right. So what we can say is that according to arrangement also, what is this fastigious nucleus, it is what, it is the oldest one, and then formed our globus pallidus and emboliform nucleus, and then came our what, the dentate nucleus. So this was what, this was about our what, this was about our the different deep cerebellar nuclei. Okay, now here another thing that I would like to mention here, and that is about how to remember that this globus nucleus and emboliform nucleus are our what, are our nucleus interpositus. So what we can do, D, E, F, G, H, we can write like this, and H and I, right. I means what, interpositus, just leave one and then go to G, right, go to G, then from G go to E, right. Okay, and we can remember that G and E are what, our what, these are our nucleus interpositus. Now further what we'll do is we'll go and talk about what, we'll go and talk about our efferent fiber. Now talking about efferent fiber, there are two type of efferent fiber, the climbing fiber and mossy fiber. Okay, now talking about efferent fiber. Now what are these efferent fiber? These are nothing but efferent, that means that will bring information within our what, within our cerebral cortex, cerebellar cortex. That means what is this, this is our cortex region, right. Below this we have what, we have got white matter, right. Now from here to here, that means the one that will carry information within what, within our cortex region, these are what, these are our efferent fiber. Now talking about efferent fiber, there are how many type of efferent fiber? There are two type of efferent fiber. These are what, climbing fibers, and another is our mossy fiber, right. Now talking about climbing fiber, what are these? These are what, these are the one that can climb all the way up to reach what, our these Purkinje cells, right, Purkinje cells. That means they will reach all the way up to reach our what, Purkinje cells, okay, Purkinje cells. Okay, and these are what, these are what, these are very few in number, these are very few in number. And talking about climbing fiber, the climbing fiber are our olivocerebral tract and para-olivocerebral tract. These are what, these are our climbing fibers. And talking about these, okay, talking about this efferent fiber along with nuclei, efferent fiber are also located in our white matter. So these are what, these are all located in our white matter, they will climb all the way up. Climbing fiber is climbing all the way up to reach Purkinje cell. Now talking about mossy fiber, right. Now mossy fiber, except these two, right, except these two, except this olivocerebral tract and para-olivocerebral tract, all other right, all other fibers that are reaching the cortex are our mossy fibers. These are our mossy fibers. What they will do is they will reach all the way up to what, to find our this cranial cell. They will excite the cranial cell. And what they will do now, as they will excite cranial cell, it will be what, sent to other cells also through parallel fibers. Parallel fibers are what, these are our what, our these the branch of mossy fibers only. Now moving in detail about these fibers. Now climbing fiber, I have already said climbing fiber are few in number. These are what, these are few in number, right, these are few in number. What they will do is they will reach what, they will reach Purkinje cell, right, they will reach Purkinje cell. And their origin, what is the origin of our this climbing fibers? Their origin is olivocerebellar tract, or let's say olive in what, medulla oblongata. That is the origin of our climbing fibers. We'll go into this diagram, don't worry, will be clear. Now what they will do is they will enter cerebellum through what, through inferior cerebellar peduncle, right, and in and there only what they will do is they will dissociate. And what is their function? Their function is to excite Purkinje cell by releasing glutamate. Okay, in this diagram where we will see the climbing fibers. Okay, now here if you will see, what is this, this is inferior olive, right, inferior olive in what, medulla oblongata. What they will do is from here, right, the fiber that is arising from here, that is what, that is our climbing fiber. It will go all the way up what, to meet our this what are these? These are our Purkinje cells. These are our Purkinje cells. I have already said this whole structure. What is this? It is the cortex, right? It is the cortex, and below we have got white matter. Now from what is going on, the efferent fiber, that means the efferent fiber, they are bringing signal to our what, these cortex. So this is the fiber that is originating from what, inferior olive, that is going all the way up to what, to excite our this Purkinje cell, right? Excite our these Purkinje cells. Now okay, this was what, this was our climbing fiber, right? Climbing fiber. Now talking about mossy fiber. Mossy fiber are predominant, they are excessive in number, and they have different origins such as vestibulocerebellar, spinocerebellar, from spinal cord, from what, from pons, pontocerebellar. These are the origin. Now what they mainly, what they mainly enter cerebellum through what, this vestibulocerebellar, it enter cerebellum through inferior cerebellar peduncle. Similarly what, our this spinocerebellar, what it enters cerebellum through two parts. One is our inferior cerebral peduncle, right? The one that will enter from inferior cerebral peduncle, that is called dorsal spinocerebellar tract, right? And the one that enter from superior cerebral peduncle, that is called what, that is called our ventral spinocerebellar tract, right? Okay, now another, our this corticopontocerebellar tract, right? Corticopontocerebellar tract, what these enter through middle cerebral peduncle, and they dissociate there only. Now what is their function? Their function is to excite the terminals on granule cell. Our this climbing fiber, it was what, it was exciting what, our Purkinje cell, but our these mossy fibers, what they are doing, they are exciting the granule cell. Now these granule cell are excited through glutamate, the same as the above one. Now they, what they will do is, they will eventually through various steps, they are going to excite the Purkinje cell. Okay, now looking in this diagram, what we have, as I have already said, let's take one example. Okay, the origin of our what, the mossy fiber, it is spinal cord also, brain stem also, right? These are the origin. Now what they will do is, this mossy fiber, they will go all the way up. Now here in this granule cell, what they will do is, they will go all the way up, and in this granule cell they will excite this granule cell. Now as this granule cell will be excited, what we have what, the branch of our this mossy fiber, that is our parallel fiber, right? Now this parallel fiber from this our this mossy fiber, what they will do is, they will further excite what, they will further excite different cells, right, in cortex. For example, what we have, the outer the molecular layer, what it consists of, it consists of stellate and basket cells, and they are going to excite these also, right? And the inner, what we have, inner we have got Golgi cells, they are going to excite them also, right? And similarly the Purkinje cells, right? Purkinje layer consists of Purkinje cells. Now they will eventually come, this parallel fiber will come here, and they will what, they will excite these Purkinje cells also. So what is going on, these mossy fibers, they are what, okay, I would like to repeat it again, they will go all the way up to excite our this granule cell. The granule cell consists, granule cell, as the granule cell are excited, these, the branch of our these mossy fibers, the parallel fiber, they will go and eventually excite every other cells like stellate cells, basket cells, Golgi cells, right? And our what, our these Purkinje cell, right? It is not shown here, Purkinje cell, right? These are what, this is because of our parallel fibers. So I would like to add up again, right? Climbing fibers, what they will do, climbing fiber, they will come all the way from what, inferior olivary nucleus of medulla oblongata, right? And mossy fiber, what, they are what, they have different origin, and these mossy fibers are what, they are most predominant, and we said that efferent, all the efferent are brought to what, they are brought to Purkinje cell. Now after efferent being brought to Purkinje cell, now what this Purkinje cell will do, they will what, we have already discussed, they are the what, they are efferent, that means they will carry information to what, to our white matter. They are the efferent. What they will do is, they will carry information all the way down to our these but they will just carry information to our deep cerebellar nuclei, DEFG, right? DEF, like dentate nuclei. Okay, now they will carry the information all the way to our what, deep cerebellar nuclei in white matter. Now these deep cerebellar nuclei, what they will do is, they will carry it further, right? They will carry it further to what, to different part like thalamus, right? To thalamus. Okay, that is what, dendrothalamic tract, that is dendrothalamic tract. So this was what, a brief introduction to what, how the this efferent fiber work, right? How efferent fiber work. Now in this case, what let's do one thing, that let's take okay, let's talk a bit again about what the cerebellar pathway. Now talking about cerebellar pathway, okay, what is going on? For example, right lower leg is moving, okay, the lower leg is moving. Now what will happen is that these information will be carried by a right dorsal spinocerebellar tract, right dorsal spinocerebellar tract. Now we have already said that spinocerebellar tract. Now what is going on, that these information should be carried to what? Cerebellum. Now these, the mossy fibers, that means what? Our right dorsal spinocerebellar tract will carry what? The sensation. As it will carry it, right, as it will carry it, what will happen? It will excite our this cranial cell, right? Now as cranial cell will be excited, what will happen? The parallel fiber of this, our mossy fiber, what they will do? They will excite all other cells like stellate, basket, right, our Purkinje, Golgi, everything. Now is information, what is going on? The information is being passed in 5 cells, right, 5 cells. Now as the information is passing in 5 cells and also reaching into Purkinje cell, what this Purkinje cell will do? The Purkinje cell will send information to what? It will send information to our these deep nuclei, deep cerebellar nuclei, right, deep cerebellar nuclei. Now these deep cerebellar nuclei, what it will do is it will send, right, efferent to what? To our thalamus through dendrothalamic tract. So this was what? This was about what? The cerebellar pathway. Now the same thing again, what I will do is I will just take you toward what? Take you toward in depth of this thing, right, in depth of these things. Yes, we said, okay, let me clear you that the above, this is what? This is our left cerebrum, this is our right cerebellum, right, this is the midline of our body, and below cerebrum what we have got? We have got thalamus, right, these are the thalamus, and below thalamus what we have got? We have got our brain stem, right, in brain stem we have got medulla, midbrain, sorry, we have got pons, we have got medulla oblongata, right, and below our this what we have got? We have got spinal cord, right, spinal cord, and these brain stem, they are connected to our this cerebellum, right. What are these? These are cerebellum. Now these are connected to these our cerebellum with the help of what? Superior cerebellar peduncle, middle cerebellar peduncle, and inferior cerebellar peduncle, right. Superior cerebellum connects our midbrain and cerebellum, our this middle cerebral peduncle connects what? Our this pons and cerebellum, and our inferior cerebellar peduncle connects what? Our medulla oblongata and cerebellum. Okay, now this was our what? The rough sketch. Now let's go into what? The pathway. For example, our this right lower leg, right, the right lower leg, there is a proprioception from our right lower leg. Now what will happen is that, now if there is proprioception from our right lower leg, then obviously what? Its information should be carried to what? Our left cerebrum, right, left cerebellum. Now what is going on? How it is going all the way like this to our left cerebellum, we will be talking about it. Now for example, okay, there is what? There is proprioception from right lower leg. Now these proprioception from right lower leg will be carried by what? The 2 tracts. What are the 2 tracts? These are what? Dorsal spinocerebellar tract, right, that means from spinal cord to cerebellum. Okay, what is this? This is our spinal cord. Now from this dorsal spinocerebellar tract will carry it to what? It will carry it to our this cerebellum. This is our cerebellum, right. Now along with it, there is also another tract, that is ventral spinocerebellar tract, that will also carry it to what? Cerebellum, but through different peduncle. So talking about what? Talking about our dorsal spinal cerebellar tract. What it will do is this dorsal spinal cerebellar tract, right, it is what? It will carry it to what? It will carry it to our cerebellum. Now these are dorsal spinal cerebellar tract, these are our mossy fiber only, right, these are our mossy fiber, right, these are our mossy fiber that will just carry it to what? The cerebellum, right, cerebellum. So we have said that the mossy fiber have different origin like spinal cord. Right here the origin is our dorsal spinocerebellar tract. Okay, now here as this dorsal spinal cerebellar tract is carrying, right, what it will do? It will just what? Along with what is this? This is our inferior cerebellar peduncle, right. Now along with this inferior cerebellar peduncle, it will just carry it towards cerebellum. Now as it will reach cerebellum, what will happen? It will what? This mossy fiber, what they will do? This mossy fiber, it will what? It will excite our what? Cranial cell. Now through parallel fiber, right, through parallel fiber, it will further excite what? Our Purkinje cell. Now this was what? This was efferent. this was afferent, right? Afferent, afferent. Now what this Purkinje fiber is, what it is, what this Purkinje cells, what these are the efferent. This will carry it away, they will carry the information away. Now it will pass information to what our this teeth like projection. What is this? Dentate nuclei, right? Deep nuclei, the part of deep nuclei, that is dentate nuclei. It will what? It will pass the information to dentate nuclei, right? Now these dentate nuclei, what it will do is it will pass the information to our what? To our what? Thalamus. Now while passing information to thalamus, what these these information need to pass through what? Our superior cerebellar peduncle. Now since while passing it through this superior cerebral peduncle, as it reach on what? As it reach on the upper part of midbrain, what? There it will just what? It will just convey the information initially to our what? Red nuclei, and this red nuclei is found on the upper part of what? Midbrain. Now after this it will send it to thalamus. So since there is involvement of red nuclei, right, thalamus, so this track from our this dentate nucleus to to our red nucleus to thalamus, it is what? Called as what? It is called as what? Our dentatorubro-thalamic tract, right? Dentatorubro-thalamic tract. Why dentatorubro-thalamic tract? So our information has reached where? Our information has reached to our thalamus. Now from thalamus, what will happen? It will send it to our what? Cerebrum, right? It will send it to our cerebrum through. Now this now after reaching it to cerebrum, what will happen? Now it will send a signal back through what? Through our what? Cortico-spinal tract. That means cortex, from cortex, cerebral cortex to spinal cord, right? Further down. So this was what? This was a brief introduction about how this pathway works. Now here another thing that I would like to add up right here is, as we have already mentioned, there is another tract, that is what? That is ventral spinocerebellar tract. Now this ventral spinocerebellar tract will also reach into what? The cerebellum, but into another cerebellum. As you can see, it has to go where? Into this right cerebellum, but it is reaching to left cerebellum. Since it is reaching to left cerebellum through what? Through superior cerebral peduncle, what will happen is that this cerebellum will say that your place is not here, you need to get back to your one place. So it will what? It will just send it again to what? Its one cerebellum. This is what? This is recrossing of fiber, and that is taking place in where? That is taking place in cerebellum, right? Cerebellum. So dorsal cerebral tract, it was entering cerebellum through what? Through inferior cerebral peduncle. The ventral spinocerebellar tract, it is entering cerebellum through what? Superior cerebral peduncle, but it will not rely there. What will happen is that it will be sent back to its one cerebellum, right? Cerebellum, and that is called recrossing of fiber. Okay. Now climbing fiber, yes, climbing fiber, we talked about mossy fiber, but what about climbing fiber? The climbing fiber, they have the origin from inferior olive nuclei, right? And these from inferior olive nuclei, from what? From our this tract. What is the tract? The tract is our what? Inferior olivary nuclei, olivary cerebral tract, right? From these, what will happen is that these climbing fibers will also what? They will enter our cerebellum through our what? Inferior cerebral peduncle, right? Inferior cerebral peduncle. So this was what? This was rough diagram about schematic diagram about what? The cerebellar pathway. So now moving further, what we need to know now is we need to know about what? We need to know about the physiology aspect of our what? Our this cerebellum. Now talking about the physiological aspect, we need to know that, right? We need to know that the cerebellum is the part that will what? That will coordinate our start and stop signal. That means when to start moving and when to stop moving. That is coordinated by what? That is coordinated by our cerebellum. As I have already mentioned, what? There are two efferent, right? And two efferent are our what? The climbing fiber, right? The climbing fiber and our mossy fiber, right? Climbing fiber and mossy fiber. The mossy fiber example is our spinocerebellar tract. Climbing fiber, it originates from inferior olivary nucleus, right? The same story, inferior olivary nucleus, and mossy fibers example is our what? Spinocerebellar tract. Okay. Now talking about start and stop signal, right? Start and stop signal, don't mug up right here, I'll be explaining each and everything. Okay, for example, from spine, okay, what is this? This is our spinal cord. Now from spinal cord, what is rising, right? There is spinocerebellar tract, and it is what it is, what the origin of our Mossi fiber or parallel fiber. Okay, these Mossi fiber or parallel fiber, what they will do, they will go and excite our these granule cells. We have already said these things also. These granule cells through this parallel fiber, what they will do, they will excite what our this stellate basket cells, right? Now before getting into these things, I would like to take you to our inferior olivary nucleus, right? Because we need to know about start and stop signal. Now talking about inferior olivary nucleus, what is this inferior olivary nucleus is doing is, there is climbing fiber that is originating from here, inferior olivary nucleus. As climbing fiber is originating from here, what it will do is it will excite the deep nuclei. Now the deep nuclei, such as what, our dentate nuclei. Now as this deep nuclei will be excited, what will happen, there will be start of what, motor response. That means the motor response have already started. Now if we need to stop it, what will happen, right? If we need to stop it, what will happen, is that the climbing fiber, right, the climbing fiber that it was the exciting, what it will do is the other branches of climbing fiber are also what, these are also supplying our Purkinje cells. Now as these are supplying our Purkinje cells, this Purkinje cell will direct these deep nuclei to inhibit its action. That means start signal which is initiated by what, our this climbing fiber which is coming to deep nuclei is stopped by our this Purkinje cells, right? Purkinje cells. Now these Purkinje cell will what, they will just inhibit the deep nuclei and they will tell it to stop, right? Now again further to start it again, what we need to do to start it again, that means from start to stop, to go from stop to start, what we need to do, we need to inhibit these Purkinje cells so that it couldn't inhibit our this deep nuclei. Now in order to inhibit these Purkinje cells, what we need to do, in order to inhibit these Purkinje cells, what is going to take place, the thing that will take place right here is, right, these Mossi fibers, right, which were exciting our these granule cells, right, these granule cells were exciting our this basket and stellate cells, right, further. Now this basket and stellate cells, what they will do is they will inhibit these Purkinje cells. That means our mission is accomplished. As this Purkinje cells is inhibited, what will happen, now again the start phase will go what, into the stop phase, which was because of the Purkinje cell inhibiting this deep nuclei. It will again go into start phase. Why start phase? Because now this Purkinje cell is inhibited, that's why. So what we can say here is the Mossi fiber or parallel fiber, what they were doing, they were activating our these granule cells. Now as they were activating these granule cells, what was going on, the stellate cells and basket cells, they were they were activated, and this stellate and basket cells, they were what, they were inhibiting what, our this Purkinje cells. As the Purkinje cells was inhibited, what was going on, there was suppression in inhibition caused by these our Purkinje cells into what, our this deep nuclei, right, because of which there was again start of movement. So this phenomenon is called feed forward inhibition. And there is another thing that I would like to mention, is that this granule cell, right, what they will do is they will activate these Golgi cells also. But this activation is for what? This activation is to regulate firing of this granule cell themselves, right, firing of this granule cell themselves. As it is regulating this firing of this granule cell, right, this phenomenon is called what, the granule cells, which was causing what, our this activation of Golgi cell, right. Golgi cells are what, they are controlling these granule cells firing. So this much it is called what, feedback inhibition. It is called feedback inhibition. But overall this phenomenon, feed forward inhibition, is the process in which what, these stellate cells and basket cells, they are inhibiting Purkinje cells so that its inhibition will be suppressed. And if its inhibition will be suppressed, then deep nuclei or dentate nuclei will what, they will properly be able to what, they will properly be able to what, start again the motor response. So this was all about our physiology of cerebellum. So everything is clear on this topic. I hope you got it. Thank you and have a great time.